Labour's reportedly seriously considering announcing the policy in the coming weeks, and the Lib Dems support the decision. But they say the government should go even further and should show health warnings like the ones you see on cigarettes and alcohol when children open up social media apps. The party says there needs to be a crackdown on addictive platforms, as they say the evidence is clear. Excessive use exposes children to mental health issues, including anxiety, sleep disruption, and causes real harm to their attention spans. Nicola, you're the mum of 2 teenagers. Do you think a 2-hour cap on social media a day is too long, too short, should be there or shouldn't be there?
I mean, I'm not... Believe it or not, I don't do strict rules with my kids. I don't need to. They're both very well behaved, but I think we need to be looking at what our kids are looking at on social media. So my 15-year-old watches a lot of football things. You know, that's absolutely fine. But, you know, if I had a teenage girl and she was constantly scrolling Instagram, looking at beautiful edited pictures of women and thinking that's what we look like, we don't. We all edit our pictures. So I think that we need to, as parents, really look at what our children are watching, really talk to them about it, not just give them these devices and, you know, use them as babysitters. You know, I look at what my children, I look at their algorithm, not my 19-year-old, but my 15-year-old. I look at what he's watching and, you know, I speak to them about it, and I think having an open dialogue with them and them knowing that just doom scrolling is no good for anybody.
Do you worry about the sheer length of time that they are sitting still with their heads down doing that? Well, do you think, gosh, hang on, wait a minute, how long have you been doing this? An hour, 2 hours, 4 hours, 8 hours? You've done it the whole way on our journey to wherever, and you're doing it all the way back. You haven't noticed a tree, a bird, a flower, you haven't looked up. You know, does it worry you?
I don't. So I encourage them not to have their phones when we're in the car. You know, that's a really good time to have conversations with children because you're not facing them. So, you know, you can talk about things that you perhaps wouldn't. So no phones at dinner. My kids play football. We only have one night a week where they're not training or playing. So they're active, they're doing, but I do worry about other people's children and how much they're scrolling. And as I say, parents not being up on what they're actually looking at. And also giving children social media too young. I mean, my 15-year-old doesn't have Instagram. There's no reason for him to have Instagram. Why does he need it? He doesn't. No Twitter, you know, but he has TikTok, and as I say, he looks at loads of football things, and he's always watching YouTubes of old football matches and stuff like that. But I think giving, you know, these especially young girls Instagram when they're too young, you know, there's age limits for reasons, and I personally don't think that I know better than people that have put them in.
I think that it's absolutely a good idea that you limit social media use for children. I don't see how it's anything to do with the government and how they could possibly enforce it. To me, I think that it's bonkers that they would think that they could. And also health warnings, well, once you'd seen it a couple of times, you'd be desensitised to it. However, the principle of it, because to me it's down to parents. And I think the one thing I disagree with you on, I think you sound like a really good parent the way you're seeing what they're looking at what they're seeing. But I think it's wider than what they're seeing, because what's happening is that they're seeing so much content so quickly that the dopamine hit they're getting from it is desensitizing them to this instant gratification. And I think that then in the real world, that's setting them up for not being able to cope with things more easily, because
but concentrate
all those things.
There was a big piece in the paper today about how we can't concentrate for more than 15 minutes anymore on anything, on TV, on a book, on a paper, on anything. 15 minutes, and you think, we used to read for hours. There wasn't anything else. When I was a kid, there wasn't even daytime telly. What could you do? You had to read. There was nothing else to do. Look at the photograph albums. My mother used to say, go and look at the photograph albums. You think, oh God, not that again. There was nothing else to do. It was raining. You'd been reading for hours. Your eyes were practically falling out. You'd look at the photograph albums. You'd have to stick something in a flipping scrapbook. There was nothing to do. Oh, thank God for scrolling. How great. No, I shouldn't say that, should I? Let's go to Amanda in Nottinghamshire. Amanda, what do you think? Amanda, are you on the line?
Yes, I totally agree with the dentist.
You do?
Hi there, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. So you would like to see a limit on how much time they spend?
Absolutely, definitely. Because it's not fair on the children nowadays. They don't go out and play as much as they used to. They're indoors. I understand the parents come home from work. You know, they've got hardly any energy themselves because there's 2 parents now going out to work. When they come home, then they have to deal with all the problems. It's like, just go and sit in front of a screen. They don't mean to do it. It's because they're exhausted from doing their life. And then they come home and then they sit on their screen, which is encouraging the children to do it. So I do believe that they should have a set time. You're only allowed on certain sites because there is a lot of disgusting behaviour out there now, and our kids are being, the screen is not good for them. So, I think that the parents need to engage a little bit more. I know it's hard because they're tired, but, get your kids out there, get them playing, take them to football, go on the local rugby field or something, or even if it's Kirby you play Kirby together. Get your children out there while the weather's nice, but make sure you keep them in winter safe from all the, like keeping them indoors. Take them out still, do stuff. I don't know, you've got to do something because this technology nowadays is getting worse and worse and
Amanda,
worse.
great call, a very good-natured and nice call. Lovely to talk to you, Amanda. Thank you. Let's talk to Afua, because your daughter she's 13, right?
She is, yeah.
And tell me about whether you do put some kind of cap on how long she can look at social media.
Yeah, I am quite, try not to be too strict like Nicola, but definitely know what she's looking at. Try to put time limits on it. She plays sport as well, so she has a good amount of time away from her phone, away from screens. But if this is ever going to become a thing and take effect, social media companies have to get involved, and they absolutely won't do that because it doesn't benefit them if young people are going to be on their sites for less time. They benefit from young people scrolling through and the algorithm doing its trick. But unless we get social media giants on board with keeping our children safe when they're online, this will never work.
I mean, Cristo, you say, how would the government enforce this? And it's an excellent question, and I've got no idea. But what we do know is that various messages do get across. I mean, we all remember Clunk, Click, Every Trip. That one was a very good one. Safe sex, when the AIDS epidemic erupted, we all suddenly had people were saying, what is a condom? Suddenly everybody knew, whether it was the vicar or whether it was your grandma. Everyone was suddenly getting that message. 5 portions of fruit and vegetables a day. We know about that one. There are fewer people smoking than ever before because the government's had very successive governments successfully have waged war on smoking. It's worked. So sometimes public health information, breast is best, that's another one. That's got through. We all get that one. So if they said no more than 2 hours of social media a day under the age of, let's say, 16, we'd get the hang of it if they pushed it hard enough.
And if it was an information campaign, I think absolutely, I completely agree with you. That is the role of the state. I just can't see how they could make it legislation that you would, what would you do? Prosecute a parent, prosecute the child? I don't see how that could work. But it's I find myself doing it. I scroll and literally, if something doesn't happen in 30 seconds, no, I haven't got time for this.
Yeah.
And we've spoken about dating on this show and about using dating apps. It's the same, one picture I don't like, next. But we've become this really disposable, instant gratification mindset with no attention span whatsoever, and it's going to have it is having real world consequences.
And we have a very short fuse for everything. Do you agree, Nicola?
My attention span is pretty bad, and it always has been. But I don't know, I can watch something and enjoy a programme without going, no, if it hasn't happened.
You don't start reaching for your phone to have a quick check. I've been in the cinema and I've paid for my own ticket and they're really expensive. And about, 40 minutes in, I think, I must just have a quick look at my phone, put it in my handbag, hope no one can see me doing it so it doesn't light up and annoy the people next to me by just checking. And I wonder, what can I possibly be checking for? Who do I think is going to message me? I don't know what I'm doing, but it's that kind of, the allure of it is hard to resist.
We're addicts.
It's it's that instant gratification, isn't it? And it's because people are always reachable now. So you always think, maybe there is some sort of emergency happening that I need to be across whilst I'm watching this Indiana Jones film. But I must admit, I'm quite good if I'm saying to myself, right, I'm going to watch this film for 2 hours, or I'm going to sit down and read a book. Quite good at putting my phone down. And I say to Naima as well, right, we're going to put our phones down for 2 hours, an hour, and we're going to do something else. And she's quite good at getting on board with that.
Let's bring in Emma, who's in Norfolk. How do you feel about this, Emma? I think you think 2 hours would be too much.
Absolutely. Thank you, Vanessa, for having me on the show.
Pleasure.
I feel very strongly that parents need to parent. A core responsibility of all parents is to protect our children. And I don't feel like a lot of parents are protecting their children in the way that they should. But what you can see on social media, literally you hand a child a phone, you hand them everything that's evil and bad in the world.
Except, of
And we
course,
think-
as Nicola says, though, Emma, you know, you put the checks and balances and parental controls and you talk to them and you look at the algorithm and you check it. You're not just saying, hey, here you are, you can look at anything you like online. If you do, that is incredibly irresponsible and also dangerous, isn't it?
But it's the nature of the screens. It becomes addictive. The scrolling, constantly looking at the phone, have I got a message or what is somebody saying? Have I fallen out with a friend on WhatsApp? It becomes addictive and we are causing serious problems in the development of our children.
Do you have children yourself, Emma?
I do. I have a 13-year-old daughter and she has no social media. And I brought her up with the confidence to be able to stand within her peer group and not have a telephone, not have social media.
Does she not have a phone? Does she have a phone?
No, she doesn't.
She doesn't have.
She doesn't. Well, she has a little brick phone. You know, like the little old-fashioned Nokia phones that you can text me, she can text her dad, and she's confident in that. And actually, I'm seeing that other parents are doing similar. Parents need to take a stand, not be sheep themselves. You know, just go against the grain.
And tell me whether she is, as people would say she might be, excluded from social things. You know, everybody else is doing something and she's left out, or she doesn't know where they're all going to meet up. That kind of a thing. Is that happening to her?
No, that's not happening to her. And maybe when she's in a few years' time, maybe there's something that I need to look at and I will, constantly assess that and maybe adapt the approach. But at the moment, she had a birthday party full of friends. I contacted the parents. I just feel very strongly we must protect our children and stop them from constantly looking at that blue light and that screen that flashes.
Tell me something, Emma, what percentage of the parents at your daughter's school or in the class that she's in feel the same as you do and are doing as you're doing, keeping her away from a screen altogether?
In her year group, it's quite a low percentage.
Yeah.
But the year group below hers, there's few more parents that are feeling like this. The year group below that, again, a higher percentage, people are seeing the risk and the dangers, and they are parenting, which is what our responsibility is.
Thank you so much for ringing. I think that's really, really quite courageous and quite brave and really taking a stand.
I do. I take issue with the saying that that's parenting. You know, everyone parents different. I'm parenting my children. I didn't give them phones, in my opinion, too young. I gave it to them when they went to senior school. I was I've been very mindful of them not having social media too young. And I would say that that's good parenting. So I think it's bad when you sort of say, you know, parents have got to parent. If they're not doing it your way, it means they're not parenting. But, you know,
I also think that we cannot completely demonise the whole of social media. Lots of people have found their communities, their people on there. There is positive stuff on there as well. And I think, you know, saying that social media is the gateway to, you know, the hellscape and everything that's terrible is not actually accurate. There is some good positive stuff out there as well.